That's June 18th. Really a nice morning here. Not much wind. It's overcast, so my chronograph should actually work pretty well today if I use that, and I'm kind of planning on it. So we've had some requests on some of the videos that I have to redo, or not redo necessarily, but do again some videos, and I think it's about time we blow the dust out of the barrel here of this 1860 Pietta replica of an 1860 Army. And what I've done on one of the videos is compared shooting wads here in the gun versus lube on the end of the chambers. And so someone was wondering if I could do that again, just to kind of verify or get a second opinion, you might say, because I had results where the lube did a little better than the wads. It wasn't really significant, but that's the way it came out for me that time. So yeah, we're gonna redo that one, and we're gonna add to that shooting it without using any wads or lube. So that'll give us maybe a comparison of all the three methods that are commonly used to shoot these guns. So I added the third category without putting any wad or lube in the gun, just shooting it called dry without either one of those two things, just loading the powder and loading the ball on top of that. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because a lot of shooters do shoot that way, and I think in history back that's maybe the way these were actually loaded. They may have put some lube on the end here to maybe help seal it so it wouldn't get water in there, but a lot of the shooting was done that way, and so I'm gonna do that. And I want to find out, one of the things I'm interested in finding out is just how many shots you can get before things get fouled up, or maybe they won't get fouled up, because a lot of folks are living maybe 20 minutes or maybe even an hour from a range, and the time they get out there, if they can only shoot one or two cylinders here, 10, 12 shots, that they might want to know that ahead of time if they're not going to use any kind of lubricant or any wads in the gun. So one of the reasons we're doing that. Another thing that we're going to do here is we're going to use our chronograph and get some idea how the speeds of those three types of shootings might compare. Now, in the past, I found that the first cylinder a lot of times will shoot slower speeds than the ones after they're fouled up. So they've been fouled by shooting once. So that's another thing that we're going to do. And with that, we'll probably load around 20-25 grains of 3F GoX standard black powder. So if we can't get any more, I guess they're maybe going to start reproducing some of that anyway. We'll load that, and I'm going to use a 451 cast round ball out of a Lee bullet mold. We'll use that, and I'll be sure that when I'm not using any lube or wads in there, that I'm loading with the sprue up on the chambers here to make sure that I cut a complete ring there to make a good seal, so I don't get the opportunity for a flash to get back in there and set off a chain fire, which can happen when I'm using a lube or other wad on there. I'm not too concerned about that. I will be shooting, or not shooting, but loading with a loading lever a lot of the times, rather than actually loading the gun with the cylinder in the gun. So anyway, with that said, I'll get loading, and we'll get some target shot, and we'll see how these things work out. So here's some of the components I'll be using. GoX Triple F. Got a pound of that here, Remington number 10 caps, and these fit well in the Piettas. They're really hard or impossible to get right now. We've got some 44 caliber wads here, and these are ones I made up. I think they're 1/8 inch felt, and we have those impregnated or soaked with I believe these are SPG on the lube on those things. Got some of my own lube that I've mixed up when I get to shooting there with the lube. We'll use a 451 round ball in the lube and the wads when we shoot those. I'm going to use a 454 when I'm shooting with nothing, because that'll give me a little extra shaving on the lead. Try to be sure I've got a good seat on there that nothing can get by it as far as a flashover goes. So I'll use a 454 on there, not too concerned with when I'm using the wads or the lube here on the side. So another thing that's nice to have handy here is paper toweling, especially when you get into the lube. It gets pretty sticky, and you get clogged up here. It's got down to about 65 degrees last night, so this stuff is pretty stiff. I prefer it a little a little looser than that, but I think it'll work out. So, okay, with that said, get the gun loaded up. I think I'll go to 20 grains of the triple F in the test here. I'll see how that fits. If I need to put a little more to get compression, I'll do that, because you need to have your ball compressed on the powder. You want to make sure you've got enough in there so that that doesn't leave an air gap between the ball and the powder. So somewhere in that 20-25 grain range for the powder. Okay, let's get her loaded up and get some target shot and see how things go.